Hello, and thank you for checking out the process transformation tutorial video. We're going to take just about 10 or 15 minutes as an introduction to what a process transformation workshop is. We'll talk a bit about what the purpose of the workshop is, a little brief overview of some of the tools we'll use in the workshop, and some general tips for preparing for the workshop. This will be a good investment of time. It's 10 or 15 minutes, and it's really going to help you make the most out of our time together when we are all together in the workshop. So sit back for about 10-15 minutes, and we'll get started. So first of all, what is process transformation? We've thrown that term around quite a bit. What it really means is it's taking full advantage of technology and automation to serve our customers faster and more efficiently. It is also about forgetting about how we've always done things and focusing on how it should be done. It's also a bit of re-examining of what's important to your customer and creating a streamlined process that matches the requirements the customer has. Whenever possible, we're going to simplify. We want to simplify everything that makes it easier for the customer and easier for Transamerica employees who serve the customer. We want to remove complication, remove complexity when at all possible. We do that by looking at steps and deciding whether they're adding value or not adding value to the actual product you're producing for the customer. And we want to remove those non-value added steps and enhance the steps that actually do add value. And first and foremost, and probably the main takeaways, we want to reduce cost and simultaneously raise value. So we want to provide a better product, we want to provide it faster, and we want to do it in a more cost-effective manner. So a few basic questions that really should be asked prior to the workshop. What is the process that I'm charged with transforming? What is that functionality, and what does this process create for the customer? What is that output I create? Who is my direct customer? Who is the consumer? If they're not the same person, we need to understand how your output flows to that consumer. So whatever it is that you are creating in this process, even if you're not delivering it to the actual paying consumer, we want to understand how it flows to them eventually. You want to think about a little bit about the output that you're creating and whether it's meeting the needs of your customer. And you want to focus on one of three areas. Am I improving the quality of the output I'm sending out? Can I improve the cycle time for delivery to the customer? Can I get that product to the customer faster? And can I reduce the cost that's required to create that product for the customer? And hopefully, we want to hit this trifecta. Can I improve the quality, the cost, and the cycle time? Can I create a better product and do it with reduced costs and deliver it to my customer faster? Some of the tools that we'll use in the workshop you may be familiar with if you've taken a red belt class or a blue belt class. We will work with a problem statement or transformation statement, which is really just a method for defining exactly what success looks like and a defined list of metrics that measure that success. We will use a SIPOC. That is a high-level view of the process, which includes the suppliers and rolls all the way through to the customer. This is going to include a list of intentional and unintentional outputs. It's going to really have us focus on what this process creates, both the product and unintentional pain points that are accidentally created. Current state process maps. This is going to be how the process currently works right now, step by step, drawn out in a diagram. We will use fishbones, also called Ishikawa diagrams. This is a great tool for understanding what contributes to pain points, particularly some of the pain points that we might highlight when we build our SIPOC. Just an example, when we talk about current state process maps, they will likely look something like this. We want to examine how that process starts, the miscellaneous steps that lead up to various decisions, and how that process eventually ends and what that cycle time is, how quickly we get that to our customer. When possible, we want to examine steps that are not necessary, that slow down the process. and provide cause some kind of wait time for our customer. Or so these are the sort of layers of complexity that we want to examine and make sure they are value-added steps. If not, we're going to remove them from the process. A SIPOC template. This is a quick overview of what this tool looks like. We'll have this process map, this current state process map, as we looked at the last slide. But a SIPOC forces you, and forgive the cliche, but it forces you to look outside that box. And we really want to look as far as we can upstream to the suppliers. This is going to be a list of the suppliers. These are people, systems, places, anything that is supplying something to this process. Thinking outside of the box so that we are not restrained to just the current as-is process. We're also going to examine inputs. These are the things that suppliers provide us with. These are materials, data, form, anything that's used to create that item for the customer that's part of the process. And then we're going to examine output. And output is not just that product we are creating for the customer, it's also unintentional outputs. These are often the pain points that we use for other tools. We want to examine what that product is that we're delivering to the customer and some unintentional things that are created, such as wasted overtime hours, unnecessary workflows, things like that get created for the process that are not actually adding value. Before we do any of this, though, we're going to take a real close look at the customer. And we want to list all of the customers that benefit by a successful output of this process. So this is going to be anyone that feels the pain of a defective, faulty product, or anyone that enjoys the benefit of a well-executed product. Their requirements are key to designing the new process. We have to understand what it is they really want before we can design a new process to deliver it. We will also use a fishbone or an Ishikawa diagram. This is a tool that's used in brainstorming sessions where we take some pain point and we put that at the head of the fish. And this pain point is going to be something that's some undesirable output from the process. It's something like confusion over which system to use, confusion where to get the answers to a question, something like that, something that's undesirable, that's an effect that happens. And we're going to use these categories to determine some of the causes, some of the root causes for whatever that pain point is. And we'll use this format of machines, which will help us list what systems contribute to this problem, IT-related issues, online options, anything with a technical or system-oriented feel to it is going to be listed as a machine. Methods is another group of things that we'll think about and brainstorm on. Are there certain methods that lead to this specific pain point? Is there a manual process that's used? Is there a lack of automation? Are there several layers of approval? Anything that is sort of methodical or procedure-based that unintentionally contributes to this pain point. We want to get it up on the board to examine how we can fix it. Materials is another group of things that we will brainstorm on. Materials can be anything from training material to SharePoint documents, paper forms, anything that's a part of the process that might contribute to the pain point we're trying to eradicate. Measurements. These are going to be things that are related to customer evaluations, whether or not we're achieving SLA. Sometimes it is a lack of required metrics or reporting. Any type of measurement related factor that might contribute to a specific pain point. We'll also brainstorm on manpower, the staff that's involved with this task that contributes to the pain point, suppliers to the process, the actual customers themselves, how work is prioritized, anything that's related to people that might somehow contribute to a pain point that we're trying to get rid of. And lastly, places. This is going to be physical locations, virtual locations, customer point of sale, environmental factors, anything to brainstorm on that's related to a place that would contribute to this pain point that we're trying to get rid of. One example of a fishbone that was used in Transamerica was dealing with a pain point regarding delays to same-day service. So the group got together, used these same categories to sort of brainstorm on some of the root causes. found a number of areas that related to training and no oversight for errors. And so using this tool really helped sort of put a frame around the problem and get a good list of contributing factors towards delays to same-day service. Your pain point might be number of too much overtime hours being used in one department. It could be any number of things, but this is really just a nice format for brainstorming on causes, and that's what we're looking for, is causes to some type of pain point. We'll also do some work on identifying waste. We will use an acronym called TrimCow, which is just a nice way to help remember transportation, rework, inventory, motion, complexity, overproduction, and weighting. We're going to spend more time on this in the workshop, talking about how to identify different types of waste that ultimately make the product more expensive for the customer, make the product slower getting to the customer, or make the product less desirable in some way. So, what can you do to prepare for the workshop? Work with the process and innovation team to document the existing current state process. We have quite a few current state processes out there. You might want to take a look at them and make sure that they are still up to date for how your process currently works. You want to review probably a handful of recommended tutorial videos like this one. We'll dig a little bit deeper into each of the tools that I talked about earlier. I'll give you a little more real-life examples of how they've been used in Transamerica before and the type of output they produce and recommendations they create. How else can you prepare? Have an open mind and a forward-thinking attitude towards improvement. And then work with your manager. We really want you to determine what the primary metrics are that are associated with your process, understanding specific pain points that are associated with your process right now, and develop a transformation statement. And that's just going to be a statement that addresses the needs that you discussed with your manager of what you want to get out of this workshop and how we can measure the success of the workshop. Well, I hope you found this helpful. We tried to keep it under 15 minutes. Again, we'll have some other videos out and recommendations on some how to use a few of these tools, a little more in-depth look at some real-life examples so that we can make the most of our time together when we get together for the workshop. Thank you for your time.